How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at a direct-to-video movie I found at the Walmart. This is H.P. Lovecraft's The Deep Ones from 2020, although it didn't get its wide direct-to-video release until 2021, just recently. But yeah, I like to look around Walmart and see what's up with the low-budget and independent movies and see sort of the stuff that's, you know, a little bit off of the radar there, and I take a look every week or two, and today I saw H.P. Lovecraft, well, not today, a couple days ago, H.P. Lovecraft's The Deep Ones. You know, you put Lovecraft in the title, I'll definitely be taking a look at this. This is produced, written, and directed by Chad Furin, and stars Gina Lapina, Robert Miano, Johan Erb, and Kelly Maroney. Sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. This also does feature music from Richard Band, who, if you're Full Moon fans, you probably recognize that name, did a lot of the Full Moon music, and also featured a shout-out at the end of the credits to Stuart Gordon, a sort of a in loving memory of Stuart Gordon type deal. Really cool to see that shout out because Stuart Gordon made the best H.P. Lovecraft adaptations. They were really fun. That being said, this is H.P. Lovecraft's The Deep Ones. It's inspired by his work, but it's not a direct retelling of any story. You know, The Deep Ones were a character, think Shadow over Innsmouth, Dagon probably appeared in a few other places. It's taking these Deep Ones characters and putting them in a new story, not really adapting a pre-existing Lovecraft story, but that's fine. Without further ado, let's go and talk a little bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the movie's about, and I do want to say my piece on a few plot points, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. We open up with a woman frantically, she's running down the beach, she's naked and very, very afraid. She's screaming and she eventually gets scooped up by some sailor cultist characters. Well, what happens to her? We don't know. That's the hook. We move on to our main two characters. A couple that's gotten married a couple years ago and they've been wanting a baby. They sadly had a miscarriage, and in turn, you know, they've been kind of wanting one and it's been kind of sad for them. They go and they, for a vacation, get this rental beach house. They go in and they meet the people who are renting it to them. This old-timey sea captain character and his young and pregnant wife. They go and they talk to them for a bit. They have a pleasant conversation the night that they get there. They find out that they're staying on their boat, which is docked outside, and because they're staying on the boat so much, they don't really need the house, so they might as well rent it out. They offer them some homemade wine, and as they talk about making it, they find out that it's made by a little beachside community they've got there, a group of friends that, you know, all know each other, and someone in their group will be able to provide you with anything they need. So a little network amongst the beachgoers. They leave for the boat. The husband and wife spend a little time in the house, and as the time ticks by, the couple that owns the house every now and then kind of butts in to their vacation there. Nothing too rude, but they are definitely interfering on what they wanted to have some alone time, but they're polite enough and they have nice things to give and show, and you can't really get too mad at that. Now, over time, the husband starts to get pulled in by this culture and community, and he starts to really like it, but the wife starts to suspect there's something up. She doesn't like that they're getting in her way, and she begins to think that maybe this isn't a community, and you know, if you're familiar with Lovecraft, she suspects something you probably guessed from the beginning. This is a cult. So She has to figure out what's going on among the seemingly normal beach people. And let's go ahead and talk about this movie's major pros. If you guys are big into the cult/conspiracy movie subgenre, this is a pretty good example of that. For this movie, think like Rosemary's Baby with a bit of Wicker Man set at a rental beach house, you know? And that would give you kind of an idea what this is like. It's nothing that we, you know, haven't necessarily seen before. If you're familiar with the cultist subgenre, you'll probably know a lot of these tropes going in. But it's a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you like the cultist subgenre, there's a lot to like. With this one, you also get the 4 lead actors are all pretty good. The old sea captain character, he's a good grungy old man, and he can be friendly, and at the same time you can also tell he's being menacing. Not the easiest thing to pull off, and he does it pretty well. And also the wife is a good, strong, final girl type character, you know, relatively tough, yet, you know, not a stereotype. And she's a good person to follow around through the whole movie. And when we compare this to other low budget, and this is pretty low budget, but when we compare this to other low budget Walmart direct-to-video films, we can really see that this does a lot more. This tries a lot more than your average low budget direct-to-video. First of all, just the fact that they have a good cast of main characters that you like to follow around, and the plot's focused. They went into this because they wanted to tell a story and not just because they wanted to, you know, just make a movie and threw something together. The fact that you have clear leads with clear goals and it's going in a clear direction, telling a well put together story and not just a rambling mess, sets it way above a lot of other direct-to-video movies. And also I did like, well, this is technically not rated, but this really does have a good R-rated feel. You know, lots of explicit material and a fair bit of weird, gross monster stuff. A lot of this low-budget stuff you see is pretty watered down, and I was really glad to see something that really wasn't. Now, this doesn't go as far as like a Rob Zombie movie or anything, but if this were rated, would be a clear R, and I do have to appreciate that as well. Now, that being said, there are some faults with this, and I do want to cover them as well. First off, the main 4 actors are pretty good. Some of the other cultists don't work, and it does lead to a few awkward moments in the film here and there, especially a lot of this movie does deal with themes of pregnancy, and you do get a few awkward moments related to that. In particular, I do want to mention there's a doctor, a female doctor character that is this weird, misguided attempt at comedy. It's basically randomly sticking Mrs. Doubtfire into this movie, and it doesn't work with the rest of the tone, and leads to a few of those awkward moments I mentioned earlier that just didn't really work, at least not for me. Maybe some people will really love this character. I wasn't a fan. It just didn't feel like it belonged in the same movie. So yeah, not all the auxiliary characters work. And also, the camera work for this, it's good for what it is. It's good for a low-budget, direct-to-video thing. But when you talk about cultist movies, a lot of people think like what A24 is doing now. And that is beautiful, expensive cinematography. And here you get things like, in this movie, when it's not a horror scene, some of the shots will be relatively standard and clean and well lit. And it's hard when you're doing horror to maintain that creepy atmosphere when nothing creepy is really going on. And also there's some scenes that take place in the dark that are just way too dark. And that's another thing that's really hard to do with horror movies, is not losing everything to the dark but still having it be dark. A lot of times you get the famous big blue light that a lot of horror movies do to show it's night but still let you see something. That are just really expensive cameras that can see dark stuff really well. But, you know, the thing is, it's not bad. It's just, you know that it's low budget going into it. And And also there are a few things when we talk about the budget, you know. This is the deep ones, and in Lovecraft's work, when you see the deep ones, there's quite often times where it's like a whole town of, you know, fish people or something. You get one key monster. You also get a dream sequence where there's a guy in a mask that looks a little bit like the mask in the Barge People. I kind of wonder if it's the same one. And then you get the off-screen tentacles. So there's not like big monsters everywhere. There's obviously not enough budget for that. They do a good job with what they have, but it's not crazy creatures everywhere. Just know that going in. But overall, for what it had the budget to do, it really did try its best, and in turn the product is a lot better than a lot of the other ones, you know? And I was really pleasantly surprised with this. You know, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's a good cultist movie. There's a few good, really eerie moments. The plot kept going. The characters were all likable enough. And, you know, there's some cool, like, dream and fantasy / vision moments, you know? And there's some cool, creepy little stuff in here. Again, it's low budget, so it's, you know, not perfect, but as far as low budget standards go, this is one of the better ones. And like I said, if you're fans of the cult subgenre, you know, like in horror there's all these subgenres, and, you know, they talk about things like slashers or shark movies, but the cult subgenre, I know really does have kind of an ironic word to use, but a cult following. And if you like these type of movies, this is a good, solid example of that, made on a relatively low budget. And cult fans, Lovecraft fans, people who like low-budget films, this is pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. And I did really like it. It was a nice, pleasant surprise when quite a few of these kind of bomb, but this one's pretty good. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see more. You can click there and see more. Probably will be my HP Lovecraft playlist. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.